great until we have to get to the bolts on the bottom.
So the last time you guys saw this engine, it was seized up. We couldn't get the engine to turn over. So we started digging into it to try to figure out why. We went through a lot of different ways to see if it was something inside the engine, something inside the trans. Nothing ever really made a lot of sense. So we ended up just pulling the thing back out just to be thorough so that we know this engine's in good shape. And luckily the guy that we bought the engine from was being totally truthful. This engine everything is brand new, but there's some things that are kind of questionable on the way it looks now. I don't know if when he built this engine originally, the engine builder built this engine originally, if they used oil instead of assembly lube, which assembly lube's a lot stickier, so it would have stayed in place a lot longer than engine oil would have. But when we were turning it over the first time, it seemed like the bearings were dry. I'll show you. So if you look, all these bearings have these shiny marks. I don't know if that's showing up well on the camera or not, but these shiny marks make me nervous. So what we're gonna do is we're going to pretend we don't know anything and assume that this engine's not built properly, and we bought some plastic gauge. We're gonna plastic gauge the bearings real quick. We're gonna pull the rings out, put each set of rings down in its cylinder and check the end gap real quick. And then as soon as that's done, we're just gonna slap this engine back together, put the timing set back together, put it back in the truck, get it running tonight, because we have plans for this truck and we really need it running by tomorrow. So we're gonna do our best to get it done tonight. When we found the engine wasn't spinning, the first thing we tried to do was, well, no, that wouldn't be the first. The first thing was you guys. That's the first thing I did. The first thing that they did was push the clutch to make sure that separating the engine and transmission was not the issue. So something in the transmission could have been holding up the engine. When they push the clutch, it separates the two. They made sure the clutch was working by pushing the clutch, spinning the wheels, letting the clutch out, it stopped the wheels. So the clutch was working properly, so we knew it wasn't something inside the transmission itself. So we moved on from that to looking into the camshaft. I've already found out, I took the timing sprocket off of the camshaft to separate the bottom from top end to try to see if it would spin over any easier, and it hasn't. From there, we started to assume that it had to be in the bottom end of the engine or something with the crankshaft. So we decided to separate the engine and transmission in the truck. It took me maybe 20 minutes to get the engine ready to come out of the truck, and then it took me another 3 hours of fighting trying to separate that engine and transmission. And finally, we decided that it wasn't gonna work in the truck. So we pulled the engine and transmission back out of the truck. You'll see some footage of us hanging the engine by the harmonic balancer and letting the transmission sit on the bottom and having gravity help us try to get them separated. They would separate about an inch, but then they were stuck. How's that even possible? Just so you know, get a look in there and see how the pressure plate's not even bolted in anymore. I was able to sneak through there and pull the pressure plate bolts out. The pressure plate's just sitting in there. So I'm thinking what has to be the problem is the throwout bearing. The throwout bearing seized to the input shaft for some reason. Why? I don't know. So I'm thinking maybe you get a pry bar. I can give you like this, where you can get under a tooth. At this point, I don't care anymore what happens to the flywheel pressure plate stuff. We'll have to replace it or use the other ones. Like actually, if you look right through here, look at that tooth, because you know those are pressed on. I was prying against those teeth, so I was already pulling the teeth off the flywheel. So we got the engine and transmission on the ground. Me and John tried to separate them with a pry bar for probably an hour. We were prying, just trying to separate those engine and transmissions. They came apart about an inch. Everything was moving weird, something we've never ran into, and we've been doing this a long time. So we finally decided to stop being so nice, and we took a long bolt, ran it through the transmission, through the bell housing of the trans, then put a nut on it, and then ran that bolt into the back of the block and started tightening the nut up. And I'll show you what happened when we did that. So this and this is our flywheel here. And this is our spacer or shim. The throwout bearing was so seized to the transmission input shafts that it started pulling out of the crankshaft, and then it made it out to this shim. You see the shim is very bent. It made it to this shim. It actually cracked the shim as we were pulling it apart, and finally it popped loose at the transmission output shaft. Well, once we got this apart, we can't tell whether this had anything to do with our engine not wanting to turn over or not. It really doesn't make a lot of sense for it to be the reason the engine didn't want to turn over. I think the engine was just really dry, and that's why we had these marks like this. But really, this throwout bearing does not move at all anymore. So, or this, I'm sorry, really this pilot bearing does not move at all anymore. I mean, it is locked up. It will not spin. So it could have a little bit to do with it, but it's not the main reason why it wouldn't turn over for us. So we're gonna assemble this engine again like we know nothing and see if it spins over on the stand with no problem. And then if it spins over on the stand with no problem, we're gonna put it back in the truck and run it.
I've got to do rings here in a couple weeks,
Scott,
so I might as well do those.
Let's get you just with a flat razor. I know people love when we use flat razors on blocks, so
Oh, yeah.
let's use a flat razor. Clean this head surface off, clean this timing surface off,
Do it.
and then opposite on the head and on the timing cover, so that when we're ready for that, we can just assemble it.
Very.
So we're just cleaning.
Do we have an end gap we're looking for here?
You'll have to find a spec for end gap, but I did bring feeler gauges.
Okay.
I also brought a torque wrench.
Let me see. Whoa!
I know, man.
We're gonna torque these bearings.
Dude,
down?
if these
That's
cylinders were any smaller, I wouldn't be able to fit my hand in. So perfect.
1980 Chevy Luv ring gap. Let's see how quickly this comes up. Oh, this engine's in a lot of different things, so I'm sure it'll be easy to find maybe.
A lot of people think it's a Toyota. A lot of people in the comments on one of the videos was convinced that it was a Toyota. Some guy was really convinced it was a Mazda, enough to yell at us about it.
Ooh.
In the comments.
Spicy.
Yeah, he's wrong. There's been a lot of people on YouTube make very, very good detailed videos on rebuilding your engine and how to set your rings and how to do all that stuff. We're not gonna do that today because we gotta get this back together. And also, I think we'll do that one day with something a whole lot cooler than this. Not that this isn't cool, but this isn't like a V8. This isn't very relatable to most people that are gonna be rebuilding their engine in their garage. Not a lot of people are gonna be doing a 1.8.
This is
Chevy
a
Luv engine.
get what you get type engine. Centering your rings. Always center your rings.
We need beers.
You can't say on camera.
We need hops and water.
Oh, you mean Gatorade?
Yes.
Yes. How many more burnouts do you think this engine's gonna do? Well, it hasn't even done any yet and it already blew up. That was my prediction. This was gonna do one burnout and blow up. It didn't even do a burnout and it blew up already.
I think we're gonna get a good 100 burnouts out of
You
this.
think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you kind of want to just bring this over here and send her down through.
Yeah. Here, put it down to the cooling jacket.
Yeah.
Because if you put debris down in your cooling jacket, when your water pump is spinning and pushing coolant through the engine, it'll actually like bead blast your water jackets. So
Helps it cool more efficiently too because it agitates the coolant that's flowing through the passages.
yes,
Yeah, I will let him know for sure.
he agreed too. He said yes.
Who knows? What you doing?
I'm seeing what a rough estimate piston ring gap should be. We're going with like an industry standard, which is usually 30. So, whoa, here's an actual Zuzu form.
Woo!
No way.
It's dead on.
Dude on the Zuzu form said 016. That's a 016, baby. Perfect.
Noticed something that's a little bit alarming.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, you see that?
I saw it on the other one too.
That's not good. It's not what you're looking for. No, cylinder 1's rough, but cylinder 3 is bad.
Looking good. Good. So now what we're gonna do is we are going to put some water in the cylinder head, see if we have any leak leak by the valves. So what are the plugs for this, Devin?
The bed. And
Oh yeah, I got them. Get out of the way, kid. You're bothering me. We're on the hunt for the elusive spark plug socket. Need a 5/8. Where's the spark plug socket? Wrong size though. Too big. Yeah.
Hi. How have you been? There you are.
Hi.
We're installing pistons. They're all ring checked. We checked all the end gaps on all the rings, so everything looked good, everything checked out good. We're not trying to take credit for building something here, we're just making sure it was built right. Because this is a lot harder to do when you actually have to gap the ends. But luckily these checked out fine, so.
You remember those footballs back in the day? They were like this. It was like they said they were a football something, and you throw them, they like went forever, but they were like shaped like a ring, and they had a big hole in them. Remember those? Yeah, they were sick. My uncle had one. You can set it in there. I had it. Yeah.
You weren't allowed to have one.
I wasn't allowed to have. My uncle had one. I wasn't allowed to have one because football is dangerous. So I wasn't even allowed to have anything that resembled football.
A lot of people will tell you to put your rings in, like your compression rings, one facing this way and one facing this way, which I mean is good practice, but your rings spin inside your ring grooves on your pistons. So like if you've built an engine and you didn't do that and you're watching this video, don't feel that bad. It'll be fine. Just start it up. If it loses a little compression by it for the first 500 revolutions, which will happen in half a second, you'll be fine. There we go.
There it is.
Need a little bit more over here. Yeah, dog.
There it is.
One.
Freaking these things. Why are they as sharp as a razor blade and spring loaded? I hate that so much. I love spring loaded razor blades.
They make these pliers that have different bands.
I've seen those.
Yeah. You know how much they are?
No.
It's ridiculous. Plastic gauge is actually pretty expensive. Like the bit aside, it was like $16 for this. Look at it. Look, it's literally a plastic noodle with some paper. They gave me the affirm option to pay for it in 4 payments.
I'm pretty concentrated. I haven't built an engine
Emily's
in
there. She
years.
can see
It's
it
been a
over
long
there
time. No, we're not really building. We're just kind of checking.
Okay. Are they different?
No,
Is that how far that one's stretched?
that's how far it's stretched, dude.
No way. Show that to the camera. That's pretty crazy.
You gotta know when enough is enough. Stop twisting the wrench, because you know it's gonna break. So just stop. Stop.
Ooh. I had this dude, I was on my way home from work, and this dude in like the really ugly Honda Civic that's like rounded in the front but kind of boxy in the back, like an 07 maybe, came flying up behind me and was like on me, and then went to pass me, and there was a cop, and he was like, "Arr!"
So he's going to compare the width of the plastic gauge once it was smushed to the different widths of this grid, and those widths correlate to a measurement. So he'll let us know which one it is.
That's a 0015, my brother.
0015, that's exactly what we're looking for. So that's good. Close enough for me, dog.
We got another 0015.
Should we,
Check the rest of them? Yes.
well, yeah, we're going to check the rest of them. We did all the work to do that, but should we clean the plastic gauge off or let it clean itself off?
Let it clean itself off. That's what it's made for. Well, this one is a main, and it's a 002. What we're looking for is if anything is too tight. Got a 002, got a 0015, got a 0015 on a rod. Interesting.
A little tight?
Little tight. That one's just a little tight.
Just won't torque that one as much.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do 32 foot-pounds on that one. 33 on the rest.
Just gonna have to redo that one real quick. Put a new piece on that one.
Is that in the budget?
It's pushing it, dude. But I mean, what are we gonna do? We're already
It's like a 1/4 inch plastic.
we're already invested in this thing. right, John, will you pick up my shaft? I'm gonna assembly lube everything quickly. And then you put it back down.
How much was that?
This?
Yeah.
It was like $8. I do like the color of it though.
It is a nice green, honestly.
A little Shrekky.
It looks like a Shrek's knot.
Shrek's not. Squeeze the jelly from their eyes.
That's pretty good.
He's a little more Scottish.
What's up?
What you doing?
So unfortunately, the cylinder head from the red engine is not going to be able to be used. It's scored too bad, so we are going to use the cam in this cylinder head. So what I'm doing is I'm breaking this all down so that we can clean it up real good and throw it on the new engine.
What do you think Chris is doing right now?
Chris?
Yeah.
The guy we bought this from.
Yeah.
He's probably happy that he sold it.
He's probably so happy.
He's probably
He probably went inside afterwards like counting his money. He probably like Scrooge McDucked it, dude. He probably threw it in the bathtub and dove in.
Family Guy bit where he does that and like, breaks his neck.
Truck was a lot of dollars.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never seen another one for sale though, so I really have no context for how much this truck cost.
It could have been cheaper.
It probably could have been cheaper, but I really don't think it was that bad of a deal. Was it the best deal ever? No. Was it the worst deal ever? No. Has it blown up twice? Yeah. A rotating assembly is so pleasing to look at. Like this. It's so nice. That's why I love watching the videos of like those like 1,000-liter engines.
Hold on.
I'm so excited to see what this cam does. I hope it spins good.
Yeah. All right, John, you want to start timing it?
Yeah. Just need a gear, a chain, and a sprocket bolt. That's what you want. Come with me as we do a timing chain.
With me.
1/8 Isuzu.
And you'll
Now I'm in a bind. Can't get this off.
Is that the carbonator?
Yes, it carbonates the fuel going into the engine, so fuel is non-carbonated. And so, you know, like when you drink pop and the carbonation, the bubbles makes you burp, it's kind of the same thing when an engine drinks fuel. It needs to be carbonated to properly combust the chamber. So that's why they call it the carbonator.
So in essence, it's a soda stream.
Basically, but with gasoline.
You ever try a soda stream?
No.
I've never tried one either. People, I mean, well, I actually never have talked to anyone who's tried a soda stream, but the ads say they're really good.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I feel like it would be cool for like a little while and then you would get tired of it.
Then just buy soda.
I don't drink pop though.
Is pop a northern thing or is soda?
Yeah, no, pop is
Pop is a
definitely
northern
up here.
thing.
Northern, yeah, it's definitely regional.
Isn't that crazy?
Okay, well now I won't feel so bad about this cooler.
Dude, they were in the
Came
car.
with the truck?
I looked this up
Yeah?
the other night for a head gasket set for all the gaskets to do this. Not a chance.
Seriously.
Yeah, it was like, no joke. It was like $120 for a head gasket and an intake gasket, an exhaust gasket, and like a downpipe gasket.
Yeah, that's a lot of dollars that you didn't have to spend.
I didn't have to spend because the stuff was in the front.
So just rip this off then, is that what you're saying, or you still want me to try to see?
I mean, we could use these ones later.
It's still ruin the used ones.
Yeah, try it.
Oh man, he used that spray silicone stuff.
The copper?
No, don't touch it. Yeah, I'm gonna try my best to save him, Devin. Back off. Telling you, dude, don't mess up my flow. I've almost got this one off. Oh, that one's a challenge. Gently lift it. Bam! Devin, you're gonna be so happy.
Scott, you ripped the plugs out of this one for me?
Did I?
Can you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need. We're gonna use the other plugs. They're new.
Yeah, yeah.
How much you running?
I mean, considering how much it went through, that's really not bad. That one's a little sooty, but the rest of them don't look. I mean, John, look.
No.
That doesn't look that bad. I don't.
Those
see a
are
whole
better
lot
than the spark plugs in like a 3.8.
You pull the spark plugs out of a Chevy Cruze. If you own a Chevy Cruze right now, pull the spark plugs out. They'll look worse than that. I don't care if you just change them.
Guarantee it.
Guarantee they look worse than that. They're also probably not even tight. Because that's a thing for some reason.
We're timing stuff in here. Look at that. That's so funny how that works.
You just push it down. See that? Push it down and then you turn it and lock it up once it's up. That's crazy.
That's wild. So we're probably gonna have to throw this in and then push it down.
I'll do the top. Colored dot on the arrow, right?
Yes, sir. Now we just need to do the tensioner thing and we'll be rocking.
Right there, it just spun. See? Got it.
Oh, nice. There it is. All timed up. What an easy little engine to time.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad
That's
at all.
pleasant. That's nice.
Did you guys get the valves adjusted already?
No.
Okay, I don't think so.
Very unadjusted.
So just leave them like that, see what happens.
Probably sound like your white car.
You have a white car?
Yeah. Yeah, I drove it home.
Scott.
Yeah.
What did you have for lunch today?
The car that I drove home, you guys.
Same thing you did.
Scott brings us lunch every day. This is a super cute thing where he packs us all a lunch and there's a little note in there.
Do you guys really not remember my car?
It's pretty good though.
It was.
What did we? Oh, we had
chicken
chicken and rice.
Chicken and rice with mushrooms.
That's where
and
your
bacon.
family just eats chicken and rice.
We don't need the valves unadjusted, but I just want to see how much it takes to turn this puppy over. Look at that. Scott, we have an engine that spins.
It does. It spins nice.
That seems like the right one for the top. Too big. I don't see any threads in there. I don't understand.
I don't remember taking anything out of it.
Definitely threads up top.
How's the other one look, Scott? We don't have the timing cover off the other one. Can you look? Can you see down in there though?
Oh, gee.
I didn't pull that out of there. That wasn't in there.
Interesting.
Biscuits.
Butter my biscuits.
Biscuits.
Butter my biscuits and call me breakfast.
We've made a lot of progress. So John, how are we gonna get this engine
Off stand?
off the stand to where we can put an oil pan on it? I think we should probably pop.
I'll just hold it.
Well, here's what I was thinking. Let's put the old valve cover on it.
It says Topsy Turvy.
Set it on its lid.
Yeah. Wait. I got it. No, that's not gonna work. Yeah, no, valve cover.
Okay.
My idea was stupid. It was dumb. I have it all the time. There'll be like a split second. I'm like, dude, this is the best idea. They're gonna be blown away with my genius, and then it's awful. I kind of workshop it for like half a second. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
I don't like the black valve cover.
What and
How do these work? On your way.
sounds good.
You got that? Can you balance that for a minute? It won't take long.
It's like a unicycle.
Cedar poles.
So today we are taking a timing cover off of an engine. Let's get started. If you know, you know.
Because I mean, make it. Yeah. I mean.
We have another bolt somewhere. So much oil. You can't even tell.
Did we have to pull the oil pan to get that timing cover off? I'm pretty sure we did.
There was just 2 studs sticking down.
There's 4 studs sticking down.
4?
Yeah. The next 2 back don't seem like they hold it, but they do. You might be able to get it off.
Still feel like there's a bolt. That's probably
The other one
Did
was
you do
the
any?
same
Did you
stuff.
do any of the water pump bolts?
Yeah, do them all.
Dude, we're gonna get some rat ball.
Devin, do you want me to try to save this head gasket?
Now he's just being mean.
Yeah, that's me.
Alright, I won't save it.
John, did we drain the oil out of this?
That engine?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Just get Big Bar in there and send it, brother.
Have you really gone at it with the mallet yet?
I went at it-ish.
Yeah, keep going. Is that enough to get the bowl that we need? I really don't want to pull this oil pan, dude. We just cleaned this floor.
I know, right?
Can you do me a favor? Can you grab me that roll stool behind me? Thank you.
Welcome.
That's nice.
You've just been holding this engine
It's
stable.
very wobbly.
The oil pumps inside the timing cover, and the tube runs back and bolts to a main bearing. So it has to go. I have an idea. Let's pick it up, and I'll put a jack under it, so we can get it high enough to drain the oil. There's a dipstick tube in it still. We got dipsticks in the back. If you want to see if there's still oil in it.
I thought John and I drained it, but I'm pretty
check.
sure that was the new engine. Need to tip it back, straight up and down.
Yeah. Either way, it's gonna. We're taking the oil pan off, so it's gonna dump the oil. It's got enough. There's oil pouring out of the back of it, but we can catch it. I don't know if we can. Will it fit?
It's great until we have to get to the bolts on the bottom.
Yeah, that does. Yeah, dude, this engine's
It is warm in here.
You have to pull that bracket off either way.
What, this one?
Yeah. Cracking it like an egg, dude.
Put it right there.
Enough. John, get the bowl we need.
Hurry! Get it up! 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
He's not even rushing. No sense of urgency.
It's not even Russian? Come on, dude. I'll hold it so it doesn't fall over. I wouldn't do
keep forgetting how oily this engine is
Yeah, it was a mess.
until I come back to it. Yeah, it's impressive.
Look at these hands.
Wow, that's a long bolt.
You need this, John.
Really
This is the
long
main thing you need for that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Oh, yep, that slots in. Weird.
So they just were not gonna put that in there, huh?
Yeah, they just didn't put that in there, I guess. Remember how in the last video I said I hate putting like dirty, nasty parts on a new engine? I meant like the outside. Now we're putting them on the inside. Pretty cool.
We were just gonna put this engine in as soon as everything was new.
I like that the old head is on one.
It is, it's called motor jelly. So it's like, it's a jelly that only cures in oil pans. So, motor jelly.
What's its use?
It just keeps everything lubricated and keeps the tolerances correct.
What a weird bolt. This thing looks really nice.
Dude.
Good.
Need that hammer, John. You got that hammer?
Metal or
Metal hammer sitting right there. It's a pain in the butt.
Get some mouse.
That's tight enough.
I like how the only part GM had in building this truck, they got it wrong. They spelled love wrong.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it's supposed to be light utility vehicle.
That would make sense.
I just made that up, but
They go like that.
I don't think so. I'm not sure though.
So I thought they went all the way to the.
Maybe that goes on the other side. Do we have the other bracket somewhere?
oh man, that was real dumb.
I think it feels so late because we've had the door closed for so
Is there a
long.
hole in that oil pan then?
What?
We did all that work to catch all that oil. Where it's just coming out. So John, what did we find?
We found that the old camshaft wouldn't spin. I don't think it helped that it seemed like this engine was put together with no assembly lube, but the cam caps on the new engine were just destroyed. It was really binding. You could grab the cam, just could not spin it at all. We plastic gauged the main bearings, plastic gauged the rod bearings. Those came out pretty good.
While we were doing all that, Scott was working on that head, and that's when we found out.
Yeah.
So Scott was trying to turn the camshaft over so that we could get. What were you turning the camshaft over for?
To get the valves to seat so we can make sure they weren't leaking.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we had the valve marks on the top of pistons.
Yeah.
Now that the engine's assembled properly and staged to be put in, the engine will turn over by hand now, which is great. So that being said, tomorrow, well, next week for you, we'll be putting the engine back together with the transmission, with the new pilot bearing, putting all that back in the truck and getting this truck running again. Because we have a lot of big plans for this truck, stuff that's going to be coming up soon that you guys will think are really cool.
Yeah. For sure.
I am starving.
I'm so hungry and so tired. I just can't believe the order that I'm gonna have to do things when I get home, like shower, then eat, then go to sleep. It's gonna
That's
be
the
rough.
worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know you're a mechanic when you wash your hands before you pee.
Yeah.
I'm ready to eat.
I'm going home.